Hey everyone, welcome to Open. Happy Women's History Month. I'm Rhina Valentin, your hosting Café con Leche for the next hour, inviting you to get social with us online, that is. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BroxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BroxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, you can follow more on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So our first guest is the secretary of the New York Regional Council of the Ukrainian National Women's League of America, a national organization established in 1925 for the purpose of uniting women of Ukrainian descent or affiliation to preserve their ethnic identity and cultural heritage within a framework of volunteer humanitarian endeavors. Now, with Russia currently invading Ukraine, the UNWLA is working overtime to supply aid to their homeland. And joining us to tell us more, where Bronxites and New Yorkers, for that matter, can go to help during these trying times and difficult times, is the Ukrainian National Women's League of America Secretary of the New York Regional Council, Vera Berezowsky. Hello and welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
Yeah, first, let me just open up by saying our prayers are with you, your family and friends, and everyone who is just enduring these really tumultuous times.
Thank you. It's been an incredible 2 weeks. People are shocked, devastated, frightened, and just worried as to what the outcome will be long term.
And so, interesting enough, it is women leading in the forefront in aiding, right? And so, as I mentioned in the introduction, UNWLA, Ukrainian National Women's League of America. It's a little long, but I want to make sure everybody's aware that's what the acronym is for. You've been at this since 1925, and you've been servicing in this manner. But now it's like almost as if though you've been in preparation for today.
Well, just as a reminder, we have been in a war situation for the past 8 years. So needless to say, the needs were there. They are just escalated geometrically to, astronomical figures. But the work, you're right, has continued throughout nearly our 100-year existence. And in particular, the humanitarian aspect of our work with social welfare, making sure that the elderly are fine, children are taken care of. There are all sorts of projects, and we have a children's burn victim project, which had been in place and continues to be in place. But now, at this moment, the greatest need is that of medical support, both for the military and for the civilians, because as we are informed and see quite clearly on the television reports, civilians are a great number of victims. We don't have final figures or anything for any period of time, but we have been there and ahead of the time. We are working with also an organization of AIMC, which is a medical cooperation. We have worked with them prior, and primarily we're collecting funds and medical equipment. Yes.
And so, right, yes, you're doing that, but I also want our audience to be aware of the level in which you serve as ambassadors. I mean, your website is pretty much like a hub to all means and all ways that someone can assist. And so can you just walk us through some of the advocacy that the organization is really focused on?
Well, one of the first advocacy programs that we engaged in was simply flooding the market with Netflix to please cease their relationship with Russia in providing their services. Their services are fine, except one of the conditions that Netflix had to engage in was to allow the state news to be broadcast. And there was a problem with that for most people because we felt that this certainly was not truthful information. And as we say, the fake news was prominent in the typical Russian family. And as Russia is quite a large country, it reached from Europe literally to the Pacific Ocean. You have quite a few people who look for entertainment and for news and balance and all. So guess what? Those thousands of emails and letters that arrived, and their help, we hope certainly that it helped make them make the right decision and cease their relationship. We are writing to the president in cases where things we need for the government is asking. Right now, we're down to airplanes and airspace. Again, whether it is a representative in their work, or the Senate, or the president directly, again, our pleas, our reasons, our rationale for why this is important reaches actually way beyond the borders of Ukraine. It affects most of Europe, and it affects us, as we know. So this is critical. And so any voice that can help, and I would encourage our residents of Bronx and New York City and beyond to engage in that by just simply writing. They're very simple emails that could be written from the heart, what you see, what you experience, and what you would want. And it's www.senate.gov, or if you prefer to write to a representative, www.house.gov, and you can write the same thing for whitehouse.gov.
And I gotta say, just on a personal level, like one of the most devastating imagery that we've been fed is the civilians and the women and the children. And I wonder, what this must feel like for you on a personal level. And if you have family out there, how they're enduring all of this.
Even as I speak, I think of them. We have family members there who range from 2 years old to 92 years old. And of course, the elderly are worried about what will happen after they are not able to, at this point, physically, perhaps, to be ready for the trip that would be ahead of them. On the other hand, the mother, yes, the mother of the 2-year-old, and the grandmothers and all are absolutely devastated because they want to make sure that they will be safe. And that's not something that they can predict by staying. On the other hand, it's a tremendously difficult decision. Do you leave? Do you stay? Because there's a father, there's a grandfather who are subject to be in the army. So it's very difficult to make a decision not knowing whether you will ever come back. And for me personally, in addition to everything that's happening, it reminds me of my parents, how they had to leave not knowing, and it was just the baggage that they could carry and transport. And so here we have thousands and thousands of people. We're crossed the 2 million mark already of refugees now seeking new homes, at least new shelters, either for this immediate period or might turn out to be for the rest of their lives. So it's devastating. There are times when I don't want to know because I don't want it to hurt anymore. On the other hand, you just can't pretend this is not happening. And that's why an organization like the UNWLA gives me some solace to feel productive and that I'm going to make a difference, whether it's signing that letter, whether it's donating, whether it's going and packing packages, you're doing something.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And really, before we go, just share one more time with our viewers how we can be of assistance.
Honestly, the best way to do it is if you're able to and are financially okay with it, would be to see a monetary donation to the organization, which is, as I said, at least we know that this money will be used for the right thing. whether it's to help that soldier, whether it's to help the family who is on the move as a refugee. And please remember that the refugees, as they are leaving, there are also refugees who are arriving, because people from the eastern parts of the country are still on the move and will. They feel that it may reach as high as 10 million people. So anything financial, where the organizations that are working have more control over, where is it that we need? Do we need more shelter for people to house them? Do we need to set up, more medical sites? Because guess what? People get sick, whether it's the war or not. They need
Right.
attention as well. So I think the most flexible way of our humanitarian aid is to seek the financial funds to pay for the expenses involved with it.
Thank you. Thank you. You heard that, guys. And that was Vera Berezowsky. She's the secretary of the New York Regional Council of the Ukrainian National Women's League of America. And they have been servicing since 1925. And if you're interested in contributing, and of course, for more information and where you can send aid to the Ukraine, you can go to unwla.org, click on donate. And for more on the Ukrainian National Women's League of America, you can follow them on Instagram, on Facebook at UNWLA. We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about Festival of Praise 2022 concert coming to Lehman Center for the Performing Arts. Don't go anywhere.